Hi, let's get started. Thanks all for coming today's community meeting. And today's agenda, the Guideware team will share the latest updates for the new versioning feature. So, welcome.
Thanks for sharing the screen.
Go ahead.
Yeah, as discussed in the previous community call, we have decided to implement the approach 1.1, which is to specify the optional field version in the spec of the definition. So we verified this. So the base logic seems to work fine. We will re-verify to maintain the KEP compatibility. With this logic, all the current test cases works fine. There is no issue. And we don't expect any of the current functionality to be affected by this change. So while implementing, we are deciding to take few decisions. For example, first will be to use a simple version scheme, like it will have 2 dots and the digits only, no alphabets. And there is already a versioning implementation in the current one, so which is to add an annotation, name annotation into a definition. And with this new version fill in the spec, it will create a confusion. So we are planning to add the we are planning to add a webhook which will block the implementation, which will block the definition creation if both annotation and version is present. So with the new implementation, your definition will look like this. It will have a version field in the spec, and your definition will be similar as previous. But if user specify the annotation also into the metadata,
Kanchan, I
okay.
think sharing just the KEP. I don't know if you're sharing something else.
Okay, sorry, I was sharing the VS Code and
Yeah.
Okay, can you see the VS Code now?
Yes, now we can.
Yeah. So with this new approach, we are planning to add a version field into the spec, and this version will be an explicit version. Like it will have 2 dots and it will only contain the digits, not any alphabet. We are planning to add a validating webhook to enforce that, and to avoid the confusion between the current versioning implementation and new implementation, we are also planning to add another webhook to just block the deployment if version is present and another annotation is also present, name annotation, which will also create the version. So this will avoid the confusion creation of the name version. So that's the one part. There is another webhook, publish version. Maybe I can just quickly open the documentation, which says that when the user specifies the publish version, yeah, this is the one. When the user specifies the publish version, it generally assumes that it won't change anything into the application, and it contradicts with the auto update annotation. So we will add one webhook. We are thinking of adding a one webhook to prevent the usage of both the annotation into the application. So either user can specify the publish version or auto update. User can't specify both the things at the same time. So this is one thing. Another is this implementation will affect both the live diff command and the dry run command. So because the code between the live diff, dry run, and the code of the application parcel present in the controller, it's same. They are common. So we are thinking of it will affect the live diff and dry run commands also. We have validated that it doesn't break the existing functionality, both the commands, live if and the dry run, works as expected, and it will show the correct auto-updated version of the component into the application. So that's we have verified, and this change will affect all the definitions, not only the component definition, policy definition, thread definition, and workflow step definition also. So since this change is affecting lot of pieces in the code, we are testing it just to make sure that it won't break the existing any functionality, and it will be a backward compatible. So this is still work in progress. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Kanchan. Community, anybody have any feedback, anything that we should look forward or be more careful about? Fog, especially your input would be very valuable.
Yeah, thanks for the sharing. I didn't catch up with one point, that the published version one. So, maybe I'm just not hearing very clearly. So if the application have the published version, we will have a webhook of preventing what behavior?
Yeah, so the published version says that unless and until the new value for the published version is specified, the application won't change during the reconciliation process. But if the auto update annotation is also present, then it means that the components in the application will be auto updated when the auto update is present. So it contradicts. Published version means it should not change the application, but auto update means it can change the application. So they are contradicting each other's behavior. So one solution can be to add a webhook so we can prevent user from using both the annotation at the same time. We are still thinking of the better approach, but this is what we are currently thinking of. This is one of the way to implement it.
Yeah.
If you have any suggestion, please
Yeah.
let us know.
Which annotation? The auto update for component definitions?
Yes. So in the code, there is already a auto update annotation which does a auto update, but it only limits the auto update behavior to the latest version. This functionality is already present into the KubeVela, but it's not documented anywhere. The implementation is in the code.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, so we are reusing the same annotation for the auto update behavior. So when user has to, let me show you one thing quickly. So if this is the application, this annotation is already present into the code. And when this annotation is present and user doesn't specify any version here, during the reconciliation, it will take the latest version. If the annotation is not present into the code, then this component version will be applied, means picked up, latest version will be picked up only once during the application creation. But this component doesn't get updated during the reconciliation. But if this annotation is present, then it will pick up the latest version. This is already implemented into the code, but it's not documented anywhere.
Okay, got it. Thanks for the explanation. I didn't notice that we had this annotation as well. The code is kind of complicated. Thanks for the hard work and the sharing.
Yeah, this was the annotation already there, so we are just reusing it instead of adding the new annotation or some other behavior. So
yeah,
and
It's pretty
any
cool
other.
that we have that annotation, the auto update, at least for dev workflows, etc. We could, they won't auto upgrade to the latest version. That's great. Maybe we should have a separate issue for documenting it.
yeah, that's right. Because in the very old version of KubeVela, auto update is like a default behavior. I guess the developers just separate the behavior into an like annotation to control that behavior.
Yeah, so for there are two commands, live def, which is used to check the difference between the current application and the previous revision in the cluster. This change will affect that behavior also, because we need to show the correct implementation, right? So live def command should work with the auto update also. So this change will affect that command also. And there is one more command called a dry run, Vela dry run. So we will have to change that also. So the code of these two commands is common between the application controller code also. So this works fine. We have validated it.
Yeah, got it. Thanks. I think the CLI change will be fine.
Yeah, and I mentioned one another webhook to prevent both the annotation, like the name annotation, which is currently used for version creation. Uh, there
Yeah,
is one yeah, that annotation and the spec version, right? This version. If both things are present in the definition, then it shall block the definition creation.
yeah, got it.
Do you see?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Means, do you see any concern that something we have missed here?
No, I think it's a great sharing, and I think the design works fine, and I think we can move forward. Thanks all for the sharing and the hard work.
Thank you.
Oops. Anybody else in the community have any concerns?
Sorry guys, there's already a draft PR that Kanchan has submitted. Please take a look. One of the things that I think we would want reviews on is, because there was no way to pass information from the input application to the lower layers where we needed to filter out or update the auto update functionality. We have had to introduce a new parameter into the functional layers to pass that information. We are still considering if we can clean up because that has had an effect that we had to change a lot of function parameters to include that particular parameter. We are trying to figure out a way where we can make those parameters either optional or reduce the number by including them into different structs. But please do take a look and see if there is another way that you guys can see that we are not looking at right now. Thanks.
Yeah, the PR is still in the draft mode that was created for the POC. It works fine as expected. It doesn't have the webhooks that I mentioned, but apart from this, it works everything. Live diff, dry run, everything is there. Only two webhooks are not there. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Kanchan. I think once they are ready, maybe we could do an alpha release of some sort that people could try out before getting into final release.
Yeah, sure. I saw the draft PR. Is it ready for review, or I should wait for a couple days to it's ready?
Yeah, it's not ready, but as Rahul was mentioning, if we can get a review on the passing the annotation to the functions, right? Currently, the update annotation is present at the controller, but we need to pass that annotation to a place where actually we retrieve the definitions from the cluster. So in between the reconcile function to the actual function, there are a couple of functions. Many functions are there, and only way that currently we have is to pass that parameters to all the function. So it's changing the definition of the all the functions. So if you have any better way to implement that thing, please suggest us. That's the
So
we
in
will.
short, Fog, Kanchan is asking if you could review it, that would be great for early feedback.
Yeah, sure. Got it. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for the great sharing. Do we have any other topics to discuss today?
Just one thing, the catalog bills have been failing. I have to take a look at that, but something I'm looking at on the side when I get some time.
The catalog testing or
The workflows. I think the test passed, but I think something in the workflow is failing. I haven't been able to spend some time on it, but maybe something for later. Or if anybody else has the time.
got it. Uh, add-on is only have add-on testing, right? You mean the CI for add-on PRs?
Yeah. The PR was merged, but after that it failed. I think something to do with some bot token, maybe. But I haven't had the time to look into it much, Fog. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll check that. Even though I saw the latest PR is passing all of the tests, so I'm not quite sure. Oh, I see. Some of the tests is skipped, so maybe that's the failed source. Okay, got it. I'll take a look. Thanks. All
Thank
right.
you.
If there's no other questions, then we're gonna wrap up today's meeting. Thank you all for coming and looking forward to the new feature. All right, bye.
Well, thank you, everyone.